Take a moment to get yourself comfortable. And as we center and ground down for our practice, we'll start with a bodies scan. Our body scan is just going to be us taking our awareness through our body, starting with the outside of the physical body, and then moving internally, and then into more finer and nuanced layers of our body. So if you're comfortable, you can go ahead and close the eyes. Or if you're not ready to just yet, take your gaze down onto the earth and start to just notice different sensations that you're able to pick up through your skin. Notice the weight of your shoulders as they carry back and down. Notice your hips planted onto the surface beneath you. You might even take notice of the temperature of the air touching your skin. Now with just a couple more deep breaths, keep your awareness there. We'll start to walk our awareness internally now, bringing your awareness down into the part of our body that we call the gut. And just taking notice of any information that's arising here in the gut. We get information here related to our wellness, related to our health and survival. And then we'll go another layer deeper, taking your awareness into your upper belly now, allowing it to soften. And as if you were a cow in a pasture, let your belly hang. And as you breathe in, allow it to fill with air. Taking just a couple of deep breaths here. Our focus for our practice today is our hips. And since we carry so much of our attention in our hips, continue to breathe into your belly, softening, allowing the body to relax. This will serve us well once we begin to stretch these very tense areas. And if all is well, begin to deepen your breath. We'll start to invite movement into the body, lifting and lowering the chin. Lifting the chin north and south. Maybe even turning the chin east and west. Take a few moments just to experience movements in your neck, specifically ones that feel good to you. Moving through the shoulders. Maybe even taking a couple of seated cat and cows, Inhaling your heart to the sky. Exhaling, curling it over like a cat. Inhaling, heart to sky. Exhaling, curling. A couple more on your own time. Big exhale, take that curl like a cat, maybe even taking your hands together. Interlace the fingers, press the palms away from you. Curl the back. And on an inhale, come back to neutral. Let the fingers rest. And come to meet me on the earth. We're coming into our bridge pose next. We're going to be lying flat on our backs. If you want to have your blanket underneath you, go ahead and spread it out now. And as you make your way onto your back, seal the soles of your feet onto the ground and point your knees at the ceiling. For our bridge, on our exhale, we're rooting down through the heels and pressing the hips toward the sky on your exhale. Breathing all the way out, driving the heels down, squeezing the butt cheek muscles and pressing the hips toward the sky. Allow the glutes, the butt muscles, to fire up. And on an exhale, we'll roll back down. Upper back lands first, then middle back. Lower back is last. And as the hips land, flex the feet up, pull the knees close to the heart. Give the lower back a massage on the earth. Gentle rock of the knees inward and outward or side to side. We'll go back for 2 more rounds, adding on a couple of extra layers of cueing. So we'll be doing a little bit more with our bodies next time around. Throughout our bridge pose, do make sure that your neck is straight. I'll be turning toward the camera so you can hear my voice. Keep your neck straight. You're gazing at the sky. With feet flexed, let the soles of the feet find the earth. I'm reaching my arms long on either side of my body, and the tip of my middle finger is able to reach my heel. I'll walk my heels in until they're able to do that. With another deep breath in, I'll fill my belly with air. On my exhale, I'll drive through the heels of my feet, squeezing the butt muscles to lift the hips. As I raise up, I can walk my shoulders back underneath me. Press the palms hard onto the earth to fire up the top back part of the arms. As you lift the hips skyward, notice the muscles along the back of the body that fire up along with it. You might feel the hamstrings in the top back part of the leg. You might feel the glutes. You might even feel the muscles that line the spine. Take a couple moments here. Continue to press the hips skyward, squeezing the glute muscles and pressing the palms onto the earth. 1 more breath here. On an exhale, landing first the upper back, then middle, then lower. Another flex of the feet, and we draw the knees close to the chest. Couple of rocks here before we do our final bridge together. On an exhale, heels land again on the earth, measuring with the tips of my fingers to make sure I'm set up properly. Another big inhale together. And on an exhale, driving through the heels, pressing the hips skyward. As you roll the shoulders open, you might choose to interlace the fingers behind the back. If you do that, or if you keep them at your sides, press them straight. Fire up the back of the arms again. Keep lifting through the glute muscles, squeezing the glutes, but softening the front of the hips. How much can I let go from my hips? 2 more breaths. One more breath, big inhale. On an exhale, safely lowering down, letting the fingers go, landing the upper back, then the middle back. Finally, the lower back again. If you have a healthy spine, go ahead and rock yourself up to a comfortable seat. If you have osteoporosis, roll onto one side and press yourself up. And then come to meet me in hands and knees. I'll turn to face you for this one. And we'll start with a couple of our cat and cows. We'll inhale, spine long, crown and tail feather reach for the sky. On my exhale, I'll curl, roll the back. Another inhale, crown and tail reach for the sky. Exhale, Halloween cat. Inhale, keeping the belly soft, cow in pasture. Exhale, navel draws in. Another inhale brings me to a neutral spine. My chest is paralleling the earth, and I'll come into bird dog. I'm going to be using my opposite arm and leg for this. I'll pick up my left leg and extend it back, stamping the sole of my foot on the wall behind me. My right arm extends straight out in front of me. And once I'm extended, lift, lift, lift through the leg. Feel the butt muscles squeeze. Lift, lift, lift through the arms. Feel the muscles engage. On an exhale, elbow and knee join right under your chest. Inhale, reach it out, stamping the sole of the foot on the wall behind you. Reach through the arm. On an exhale, draw it in. Inhale, reach back out. We have 2 more of these. Drawing it in nice and tight. Curl the back. Inhale, reach. One last time together. Exhaling, drawing it in. Inhale, reach, reach, reach. Reach through the arm. Reach through the leg. Big squeeze along the muscles of the back and the glute. On an exhale, knee and hand land on the earth. Same shape, other side. Right leg reaches out, stamp your footprint on the wall behind you, lifting up through the left arm, both reach up nice and long. Exhale, draw it in, elbow to knee. Inhale, reach out. Exhale, draw it in. Inhale, reach out, remembering to lift on every one. Exhale, draw it in. Inhaling, stretch. One last time together. Exhale, draw it in. Inhale, reach. Nice work. Lower it down. We're going to come into fire hydrant next. So I'll turn to face you. And depending on which leg I want to use first, I want to use my left, this leg over here. I'll shift my hands over in the opposite direction. So I'm using my left leg. My left hand is under my nose. I'm shifted off to the side. And I'll pick up my leg to the side as if I were a dog at a fire hydrant. Nice imagery for yoga, huh? Join the knees together, lifting the leg out to the side, lowering it down. We'll take just 5 of these. See if you can feel the sensation in the side of the butt muscle. This is your glute medius. Different than that big mover, the glute max that we normally use. Take 2 more, long and slow. One last time. Nice job. Joining the knees, switching over to the other side. Next time my right leg is moving, my right palm is under my nose and I'm shifted off to the side. Lifting through the leg, out to the side. Big squeeze of the cheek. Once it gets there, draw it down. We have 5 of these. 4, 3, last 2, and 1. Beautiful work. Landing the knees together. With the soles of the feet finding the earth, we're going to press up into our downward dog and continue to warm up the body. Find your downward dog, and once you arrive there, start pressing one heel toward the earth and then the other, walking your dog. And again, with the purpose of warming up the body, we'll move through a few of our vinyasa flows together. On an exhale, shift the weight forward, come to meet me in your plank. One long line from the crown of the head all the way down to your heels. On an exhale, landing the knees, heart shines forward, elbows glide against the ribs all the way down. With a kiss on the earth, exhale, roll it up until you find a back bend that suits your body. Another big breath in. On your exhale, flip the feet, find your downward dog. Keep walking the dog. We have a few breaths here together. As we go through these flows, feel free to progress them if that's your level. You can also feel free to lower down onto your knees, resting back in child's pose during our downward dogs, or even modifying your planks by lowering your knees to the earth. Together, we'll move through another vinyasa together. Exhaling, finding your plank. Inhaling, once you get there, slow burn through the abs. Exhaling, landing the knees, heart shines forward. Elbows are against the ribs, all the way down nice and slow. Inhale, roll the shoulders back. Reach long through the spine and through the neck. Exhale for your downward dog. Again, downward dog might be child's pose, it might be hands and knees. Find what works for you. We'll come through our flow 2 more times. On an exhale, coming to plank. Inhale where you are. Exhale, knees, heart, and nose. Tuck those elbows into the ribs. Inhale, finding a little cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Gonna come through one more time. Take 2 breaths in your downward dog or another shape that suits you. And keep your neck relaxed. Bottom of the exhale, we find our way to plank. Big breath here as we hold it. Exhale, lower down, knees, heart, and nose. Inhale, nice long spine. Exhale, come back to meet me in your child's pose. Rest your hips or your rear end in the direction of your heels. We have 3 breaths here. Two breaths here. One more big inhale. On an exhale, either staying where you are and coming to hands and knees, or pressing back into your downward dog. We're going to rainbow the left leg. That means I'll lift my left leg out to the side, circling it up toward the sky, and letting it tap the outside of my right heel, and then back where it came from. Out and around, we'll take 3 of these. Left leg reaches out to the side, up toward the sky, taps the outside of the right heel on the ground. Back where it came from, one more time. Big lift out to the side, reach for the sky all the way around. Back where it came from. Woo! And then reaching that leg as high as it goes. We're coming into our pigeon pose next. Knee draws close to the nose, shifting through to your plank. Outside of the shin lands on the ground. I'll turn to face you. So depending on how your teacher has you in pigeon pose, you might be stretching the glute, you might be stretching the outside of the hip, you might be in this hip flexor here. That's going to be our focus. If you have little blocks, go ahead and grab them. Mine are a little too far away, so I'll just perch myself up on the tips of my fingers. And as I do that, I'll take some of my body's weight into my hands. Frees up a little bandwidth for the front of my hip to extend a little more. Two more big breaths here. Really savor them. Those long, slow exhales help us relax. And we really want those hips to relax. One more big breath. On our exhale, palms will frame that front knee. We're going back where we came from into that three-legged dog. Flip the back toes and then press the leg high. Lowering it down, walk that dog. Option to land for a little break in your child's pose or in your hands and knees. We're gonna start our rainbows on the other leg. So for me, that's my right leg. I'll raise it out to the side, reach it for the sky, and then circle it around so it taps the outside of my left heel and back where it came from. I have 3 of these. Out to the side, reach for the sky, around and tap. One more time. Side, sky, around. Back where it came from. Woo, all the way around. And then lifting that leg high, drawing the knee close to the nose, landing the lower leg on your mat in your pigeon. Nice work. I'm a little closer to my blocks this time. I'll grab them and I'll press my hands into them so I can rise up. Notice how I find a little bit more length here with my palms pressing onto my blocks. The more weight I take in my hands, the less that this hip needs to try and stabilize as I wobble back and forth. I can use my upper body to decrease that wobble. Take a couple breaths here. When we find our stretch, we want it to be something that we can easily maintain for a few breaths. So you can check in with your body anytime that you enter a pose and just gauge whether or not it feels sustainable to you. If it doesn't, you can make another choice. On an exhale, if you have blocks, place them off to the side. We're going back where we came from. My palms frame my front knee. I'll flip my back toes and I'll press into my three-legged dog. My leg hovers. I press it all the way back. Big squeeze in the glute. Land the leg on the earth and take it down into your child's pose. Knees land, hips shift back. Woo. We have 5 breaths here to relax. Continue to breathe. At the bottom of your exhale, reaching the arms out in front of you. Flip the toes and come to meet me in your downward dog. We won't stay here long. We're actually coming to standing. With teeny tiny little steps, walk all the way up to the top of your mat. The tinier the steps you take, the more you need to use your abdominal muscles, pulling them up and in. If you can walk the feet all the way to the hands, wonderful. If you can get them halfway and then want to walk the hands back, that's fine too. On our inhale, we'll come into half lift. Fingertips meet the shins, pressing the spine long as the chest parallels the earth. On an exhale, I'll soften my chest onto my thighs. I'll deepen the fold in my knees and I'll roll up to standing. slow and gentle. Once I'm standing, I'll turn to face you. We're coming into our chair pose. I might inhale, taking the arms out and around me, exploring space. And on an exhale, I'll press my hips back as if I'm trying to find a chair behind me that's just a little bit too far away. I'll turn to the side. Look how far I'm sticking my rear end out. I want to really reach it. It helps me form a nice relationship and keep my knee closer to being over my ankle. I never want it past my toes. Ideally, I want my knee stacked right over my ankle, or at least very close. Take a couple breaths here and start to press through the feet. Push the feet through your mat and start to traction them apart as if you want to pull your mat apart, making two long skinny mats right down the center. Pull, pull, pull. You'll notice the hips waking up. Let them fire up. We won't be here too much longer. Big breath in. And an exhale, let the chest meet the thighs. Oh, and just relax here. If you have blocks and you want to bring the earth up a little bit closer to your hands, go ahead. Nice soft neck. One more big breath. We'll soften the knees. We're rolling back up to standing. Keep the neck soft. Oh boy, we're gonna do a little bit more with our chair pose. If you have blocks, scoot them out of the way. And you'll wanna step, if you have a mat rolled out, step to the top of your mat. We'll need some space behind us. With an inhale, explore space, big breath in. On your exhale, sit the hips back. Now at this point, if you want a modification, you can take the palms to your chest, ask for help. Maybe pray to a deity. I'm going to take my left leg and tap it back, nice long lunge. I'm not resting here though. Draw the knees back together. Other foot taps back. Draw them together. Tap it back. We're gonna do 6 of these. So my knees are still, they're still behind my toes. And my knees are also right under my hips. I'm not actually pressing my legs together. 2 more facing you. Tap it back. Bring it together one last time. Nice work. Let it go, chest meets thighs, straighten the legs. Just soften and relax here for a moment. Another inhale, come into half lift, fingertips meet the shins, chest parallels the earth. Exhale, chest to thigh. Nice and soft, let's roll to standing. All the way up. And we're going to add on to that a little bit. I'll turn to face you. Woo. Taking an inhale where you are. Okay, let me get back in the frame. With an exhale, press the hips back. We're going to revolve our chair now. So my palms are coming to heart center. On an exhale, I'll rotate my ribs toward my left leg. If all is well, I might even lean into it. I might tuck the top back part of my arm on the outside of my knee. So I'm here now. And I'll tap that right foot back, long lunge. Draw it in. Tap it back. Draw it in. One more time. Tap it back. Draw it in. Amazing, amazing. Let it go. Rotate out of it. Take a moment at standing. Reach the arms overhead. Another big breath in, big breath. On an exhale, palms find one another. Drop it back down into your chair. Same shape going the other direction. This time I'm rotating my ribs on my exhale toward my right leg. I'll take the top back part of my arm, hook it in. And this time the left leg stepping back. Draw it in, step it out. Draw it in, step it out. Draw it in, step it out. Nice work, draw it all the way back in. And rest, come out of your twist, chest meets your thighs. Woo. You are doing amazing. Take a couple breaths here to rest. So a lot of us in yoga are familiar with our triangle pose. We are going to do revolved triangle. And for the sake of me being able to face you for it, I'm going to initiate the movement by stepping my right foot back. Come into this gym class stretch. Both heels are on the ground. I'm reaching down my front leg. If you have blocks, go ahead and grab them. So take a moment just to stretch down the hamstring, this top back part of the leg. And I'll turn to face you. I have a good amount of distance between my heels. I'm not stacking them together. My feet are pretty wide apart. There's about a foot or so of space between them. Now I have tiny little short blocks. If you have tiny little short blocks, stack them. Otherwise, put your block on level 2 or level 3 on the outside of the front foot. We're preparing for our revolved triangle. My right hand crosses my body. Okay, I'm crisscrossed now. If all is well, I'm going to reach that left arm into the air. I'll turn sideways for you too. So we're here. Soften through the neck. And I like to just wiggle my tail feather back and forth as if I were a kitty cat. Take your tail feather back and forth and just notice how it feels in the hip. There's a lot of sensation that you can feel right here. Just notice where you feel it. I'm going to rest this arm by placing it on my low back. We have one more breath here. At the bottom of that exhale, I'll unwind. I'll unstack my blocks. And I'll step both feet to the top of my mat. Preparing for the same shape on the other side. This time my left leg steps back. Gym class stretch. In yoga, we call this pyramid pose. I'll grab my blocks. In a perfect world, the alignment for this would be not hiking this left leg up too much, this left hip. We want to drop it into alignment, meaning that we shift our weight forward. I won't nitpick. I'm not a nitpicker. Personally, I like to cheat a little bit more. But shift the hips into alignment. Let them drop forward. And we'll prepare for our revolved triangle. I'll turn to face you. If you have your block, go ahead, set it on the outside of the front foot. I'll stack 2 because mine are skinny. And I'll take that left arm, I'll crisscross it over so I can touch my blocks. I'm turning into my front leg. If all is well, I'll thread my bow. I don't hunt, but you're pulling back on the bow and arrow. Reaching the arm long. Option to take this top hand, place it on the low back. And as if you were a cat walking down the street, letting your tail move side to side. Noticing where you feel sensations in your body. You might be getting a lot in your calf or in the side of the hip. Whoop, don't fall over. Just notice where you feel it. Two more big breaths. One more big breath here. On an exhale, we're unwinding. Come on out of it. Gym class stretch, reaching down that front leg. On an exhale, both feet step to the top of your mat. If you have pretty healthy hips, we'll start to heel toe the feet away from one another. I'm working on a blanket. If I were on a block, my heels would be on, if I were on a mat, my heels would be on my mat. My toes would be turned out just slightly wider than my mat. And I can start to sit my hips down into low squat. If this is out for your body, just come down and meet us in butterfly here. Soles of the feet are together. But if it does work for you, come on down, be nice and gentle. If it works for you, just take a rock side to side. Personally, this feels deep to me. I prefer to be a lazy outfielder, so I'm gonna sit on my blocks. Check in with the front of the hips, make sure nothing's impinged or feeling uncomfortable. If it is, feel free to let this go and meet us in your butterfly. One more big breath here. Full exhale all the way out. And if you're deep in this yogi squat, lift your hips out of it. Remove your blocks if you're using them. And come to have a seat. Now we're all in butterfly. As I find my way to butterfly, I might take my hands around the front of my ankles. And then depending on what kind of flexibility I have here, I might choose to fold it forward. That feels good in my body. If you're struggling where you're at, you can prop under the knees with your blocks or elevate your seat by sitting on the block. But if you want a little bit more from this stretch, we'll inhale our spines nice and tall. On an exhale, heart reaches forward. And then the sharp part of the elbow can find the soft part of the inner knee and just give your body weight into that. If you have some decent flexibility, you can take the hands around the ankles and use that leverage to pull yourself closer. Neck is nice and soft. Two more breaths here. One more breath here. On an exhale, we're rolling the spine out of it. Bring it all the way back up. Spine is nice and tall. We'll take a nice wide-legged stretch. I'll come into straddle. And just like our last shape, you might grab your blocks for this if you have them nearby. We'll inhale, lifting the spine nice and tall. On an exhale, we reach the heart forward and start to hinge from the hips. Once the spine has gone as far as it can, and the groin tells you to stop, let the spine curl. Using your breath actively to soften your body. Every exhale counts. At the bottom of your exhale, palms paw the earth, start to walk back in, slow and gentle. If you have blocks in your way, move them out of the way. Bring the heels together. If you have kinks in the hips, let them out right now. And I'll come back to a semi-straddle for the sake of getting into my next shape. I'm coming into cow face pose. So this is my right leg. You can choose to mirror me, or you can just choose your own right leg. And I'll bend at the knee, drawing the sole of my foot close to the thigh mound, that part that has a little bit more chunk than the rest of the leg. If all is well, I'll bend up this other leg, my left leg, and I'll step it over top. I might take a moment to sneak this bottom foot back a little bit. I want to come into a shape that looks like this. If you're able to stack the knees, go ahead. Try and get kind of close. As we come into this, you want to make sure that both of your butt cheeks are on the ground. And these feet flexed are really important. That's how I protect those little jelly pads in the knees. They're called your meniscus. I want to protect those by flexing my feet. Take a couple breaths here. If you have a body that's similar to mine, you might be feeling some gripping in the hips. See if you can let some of that tension go. Take a few more breaths here. Long, slow exhales. If this stretch feels good and it feels comfortable to you, you have the option to go more deeply into it. I will not be joining you for it though. We'll inhale, the spine's taller. Exhale to reach forward through the heart. The opportunity is to fold over the legs and relax there. If that suits your body, that is an option for you. Continue to stay attuned to your breath. Continue to let the hips soften in any variation of this shape that you might be in. If you're folded over, find your exhale and start to walk your spine upright. And as we exit the pose, the bottom leg will straighten out from the knee. I'll step my top leg over, get the kinks out if you have any, and we'll make the same shape on the other side. So I'll widen my straddle, little modified straddle here to get into the shape. I'll bend in my opposite leg. For me, that's my left leg. My right knee will point at the ceiling. I'll scoot this leg in a little bit more. I want my knee straight out in front of my body. My top leg comes over top, top leg on top. Scoot the feet. Ooh. I want to stack my knees, and then protecting them is really important to me, so I'll flex my feet. Protecting the meniscus. Menisci, there's 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Check around in the hips for gripping. And then mindfully using your own breath. This is how we participate with the pose. This is our little bit of control that we have in it. Using our exhales to soften the body. Take a couple breaths here, and we'll have that optional fold forward in just a couple breaths. Nice work. Option to add on, inhaling the spine taller, exhaling to reach out through the heart and fold over the legs if that's comfortable. You might notice that you have varying flexibility from one side of the body to the other, making the choice that best suits this side of your body. And in this quiet space, noticing sensations in the body. If you're folded forward, paw at the earth and walk yourself back upright. We'll release the shape by releasing the lower leg. Lower leg straightens, top leg releases, little switch of the hips, and we'll start to make our way down onto the earth. At the beginning of our practice, we came into bridge. We're going to come into something similar next. So I'll find my way back onto my mat. My soles of my feet are on the ground. My knees are pointed at the ceiling and I'll lie flat down. And just from side to side, I'll let my knees windshield wiper. Ooh. If you're finding little crickles and crackles, that's normal. Let them out. And then let the knees swish over to your left. Knees point to your left. And if it feels good to go more deeply into this little spinal rotation, draw that top knee up so that it's hip height and extend it out straight. I'm in my spinal rotation. Three breaths here, just to soften the body. At the bottom of your exhale, re-bending that top leg, drawing the knees back together. And we'll continue our side to side swish, windshield wipering one side and the other. And then letting the knees find the opposite direction. So for me, that's my knees pointing toward my right side. And if I want more out of this spinal rotation, I'll draw that top knee up to hip height and extend the leg straight. Enjoying the spinal rotation for 3 more breaths. Re-bending that top knee. Couple more swishes side to side. And then with the knees coming back to neutral, I have the option to take Happy Baby. The following Happy Baby will come into our final rest. If you'd like to participate in Happy Baby, I'll flex my feet, I'll draw my knees close to my chest. Happy Baby is a deep groin opener. I'll take my peace fingers, I'll wrap them around the big toes of my feet and let my knees and hips fall open. Optional side to side rock here. Enjoying 2 more breaths. And when you're ready to release, happy baby, releasing the toes, drawing the knees back together, and landing the soles of the feet on the earth. Our next shape is going to be our final rest. You might choose to straighten the legs for your final rest. Or if you're like me and you sometimes have some low back issues, you might choose to prop under the knees if you have a pillow close by. You could even use your blocks. Or if none of those are available and you still want to bend the knees, you can just go ahead and bend them. Soles of the feet on the ground, knees at the sky. And over the next couple of moments, start to settle into a shape that will allow you to relax for about 5 minutes. The other option would be to sit upright like I'm doing. Go ahead and get comfortable in the shape of your choice. Feel the weight of your body. Now with a couple of deep breaths, allow your exhales to carry you deeper into relaxation. Notice your heels in contact with the earth. Notice your strong, stable pelvis. Let your shoulders relax. And then find your awareness to your jaw. Allow your jaw to let go of any holding, control, or tension. Allow your brow to relax. This is our time to let go and to just soften. And if you notice thoughts coming in, letting go of them too. Awareness at your belly. Let it soften like a cow in a pasture. Its gentle rise and its gentle relax. Notice your breath at your belly. Beginning now to deepen your breath. Allow your awareness and movement to trickle back into the fingers and all the way down into the toes. And in your own time, begin to roll onto either side of your body. If it's comfortable to find that side recline, you might choose to tuck the knees closer to the heart or extend your grounded arm long against the earth to make a pillow for your head. In your own time, gently pressing your top hands onto the earth, begin to shift your way into a comfortable upright seat. We'll seal in the benefits of our practice together by sealing our palms together. And if you'd like to join me, taking the thumbs into the heart, a gentle bow of the neck, acknowledging your beautiful body, your brilliant mind, and your radiant spirit. We'll close our session with a common greeting of Namaste. Namaste. Thank you so much, my friends. I love you so dearly.